There are all kinds of ways to learn about an issue. When deciding what kind of research you want to do for your business, a question that's often asked is, do we use focus groups or do we use interviews? I think there are some distinct benefits to both. Distinct benefits to each. A focus group brings a bunch of people around a table, and the bunch of people generally share some kind of common characteristic, whether that's economic, social, demographic. By having a lot of people in one place at one time, the real benefits are that it saves you time because you're talking to a number of people. It gives you a little bit more idea into the social connections around a specific issue. And it also allows clients to watch a number of respondents at once. In a facility, that makes sense because they can go behind the glass and they can talk amongst themselves and talk with their agency and talk with their partners in kind of a private enclosed space where everyone's watching the same thing at once. Even in online, there are chat rooms that exist. There are, depending on the platform you use, there are ways that clients can communicate amongst themselves, and it allows everyone to focus in on one thing. But there are some detriments as well to focus groups. Focus groups are not very good for eliminating groupthink. If you have a loud respondent, if you have someone who is very vocal or opinionated or outlier, they can taint the results of the whole group. People can get intimidated to speak. Also, in the average kind of 90-minute to 2-hour focus group, if you have 5 to 8 people sitting there, everyone's only speaking for 10 to 15 minutes each. You don't get lots of content from each person. So although you see their faces and their reactions, you don't get lots of detail around what they're trying to say to you. On the flip side, interviews. Interviews, you sit down one-on-one and you talk about an issue, or you look at some stimuli, or you look at some ads with another person. And they give you their input on what's right and what's wrong. It allows a lot more probing from the moderator's end. You can ask significant questions. And you're getting a fair bit of time with each person. And so you can really kind of dig that onion deeper and deeper. One of the big detriments to interviews are they take a lot of time and they can be quite expensive to run because you're running quite a number of interviews and paying each respondent and paying for the space or the online presence. So there are benefits to each approach. I generally like interviews. I think they're a really good way to get really good detailed information. I think they work very well for the qualitative space. And I try to lean clients away from focus groups. Although I do think there are some situations where focus groups make a lot of sense, they aren't for everyone, and they aren't always the right approach to use. You have to think about what your product, brand, or service is. You have to think about what you're trying to get out of the research. You have to think about your time constraints, your budget constraints. But there are benefits to each. We run lots and lots of qualitative research. We do interviews, we do focus groups, we do ethnographies. We're happy to talk to you about any challenges you may have.